Suddenly it's happened to be. I'm not talking because there's no viewers. Now I'm going to play some video. Share audio. What could I play? One of my older videos. Thank you for watching. Oh man, I love that one. Here all alone laughing to myself. Oh, good.
Next up, Jay McDonald in person.
Next Tuesday. Let me just play a few more. We got 2 people. Hey guys, thanks for the people that are already here. I'm just gonna give it another 5 minutes. I'm gonna maybe play a few of my edited videos there with the music and stuff. Yeah, this one also.
On this campus, who took the banner advertising this event with my face on it and set it on fire on this campus, you shut down the conversation. Do you think that was okay? Do you think it's okay to set banners on fire?
I think people can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
So there's no moral right or wrong?
I think people can do whatever the fuck they want to do. They can have an abortion, they can fuck 5 people in the night, they can come and listen to your speech, and they can still have questions for you.
And you can set banners on fire and that's fine?
People can do whatever the fuck they want to do.
So do you believe that there's moral right and wrong?
I can say it would be one more time for the people outside. Whatever the fuck they want.
So she doesn't believe in right or wrong. That's actually a very scary society because there are rights and there are wrongs. And you can't be like, I can do whatever the fuck I want to do, because that's actually a very, very scary situation. Because if I wanted to go out and murder people or commit an act of genocide, I shouldn't have the right to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Next question.
I'm a practicing pagan.
Yep.
I believe that I can do whatever I want.
Yep.
And I have the right to an abortion in my religion, and it's completely
So in many
free.
states that have restrictive laws against abortion, the Temple of Satan is officially suing because they believe a woman should be able to sacrifice a child to abortion as part of the religious practice. So do you agree with the Church of Satan?
Yeah, the Church of Satan should be able to do whatever they want. It's a religion, religious freedom. I mean, I believe we're in a free country. I believe in religious freedom.
Yeah.
We're in America. God
Yeah.
bless America. We're in a free country. We should all be made.
So Satan, Satanism is a religion when in reality it's the anti-religion. And
You're pagan.
It is. I mean,
then she says, I'm pagan, but then she says, we can do whatever we want. God bless America. It's like, well, do you believe in God or not?
we all
Can
should
you
make our
kill
own
me?
choices. You're
Can
not.
you
You're
kill
not
me?
an embryo. You're not an embryo.
That is, see,
You're a
thank you.
living human being, and so is the embryo. Yeah, it's alive. I don't care. It's not. I don't want it there.
Oh, yeah, it's alive. I don't care. It's not. I don't want it there.
I'm a practicing pagan.
Ladies, if you get pregnant, run on down to the abortion clinic and have that little bastard suck.
I guess that's what they call reproductive health. Just doing stuff over here in the kitchen, guys. I'm gonna sit down soon. That's why I'm just playing some of the. I'll be sitting down in a sec, guys. I'm just playing some of the old content. But if you look at what the Bible quotes were in the end of that video, you'll see that it says that he's going to send strong delusions. He allows their minds to be darkened, people following doctrines of devils. This is, why the Bible says that we are made in the image of God. What does everyone say now? No. Nothing exploded into everything. It rained on the rocks for a really long time. Eventually, inorganic matter became organic and conscious of itself. That there's no real meaning in the universe because we live in an almost infinite space and we're a tiny speck. And there's no lawgiver, so everything is relative. That if God said that he created man in his image, and then he says woman and man, he created them. So don't forget, it's not that men, are in the image and women aren't. What he means man, he means mankind. So man and woman are made in the image of God. And he says that it's a binary system. I mean, I live in Canada, so I got to watch out what I'm saying because I could possibly lose my job if I have a thought crime or if I misspeak. But seems like God says it's a binary system. And it seems like now that's being refuted. And it's a spectrum. Seems almost an infinite spectrum of claiming it's not man and woman. Marriage for a Christian is a symbolic representation of Christ and his church. And Christians that follow the Old Testament understand that God is creating symbols on earth of heavenly things. And he's very specific when he tells them how to do things, what to make it of, and how it's supposed to look. And again, a marriage between a man and a woman, is sacred. I know that sex is free now and stuff like that. I'm not going to be a hypocrite. When I teenagers, 20s, I was a male whore. I was trying to get in as much as I could. If I had a chance, there we go. So I'm not being a hypocrite about it, but there's one thing that I did realize while I was running around like a gigolo was that if ever I got someone pregnant, I knew while I was being, a horny, typical young guy in his 20s, I knew that if I did get somebody pregnant, I knew that when I was having sex, that was a sacred act, and that I had to bear the responsibility if a child was born. And I think that if you get pregnant, if you've spread your legs and the pregnancy happens, that's your responsibility. That's a consequence, a sacred decision that you might have not taken very seriously, but it is. You had sex. Now, if people cannot support the baby, that can happen, right? So the least you can do is carry the child and put that child up for adoption, because most of the people, it's about inconvenience. So you're not killing the child. If you look into the adoption rate of newborns, they don't hang around the system. Okay, so those babies really are adopted. The problem is it's the older babies. It's like, oh, I'm infertile. I want to have a child. They go there. They're like, well, there's this newborn here that's 2 months old, and here's a 4-year-old kid. He comes from an abusive parent, and now he's in foster care because he was beaten. Would you like to start with that child? No, maybe I'll take the baby. So unfortunately, as you get older, you're not getting adopted as much. But babies, people are waiting for adoption. Now, then they'll always use the one thing. What about rape? Now, I think that a Christian that understands that the baby shouldn't have to pay for the sins of the father, I think that it's quite normal that maybe you don't want to keep that child as a constant reminder, perhaps. I think that a Christian would put that child for adoption, but would not kill it. Rape, you get raped. That's horrible. But now you're going to create another horrible act. Look, people might not like what I'm saying. I'm not claiming it's a truth. I'm just giving my opinion. What I think about that as a man. I understand people can throw it and say, you're not even a man. Like, who are you to talk about it? But I think that on moral and spiritual issues, men can talk about issues that in a way wouldn't concern them, but it could concern them, because a man also, let's say gets a girl pregnant, he's involved, right? Maybe he's the one that's pushing the woman for abortion. Maybe he doesn't want his life disturbed. So even the man in a way can be guilty, maybe even pressuring a woman to get an abortion. There's also the other thing is that I know a lot of rape victims, what happens is it's like, I guess it messes with them so much that they're ashamed, like they're the victim, but they don't want anybody to know. So often they won't tell people. Or they definitely don't want to go to the cops. But if somebody did get raped, they should be going directly to the hospital. The police should be called. DNA swabbing should be done. And at that point, the plan B can be initiated immediately. So that's something. See, that's the kind of stuff that commercials and stuff, should be. The importance of not being ashamed if you're a victim of rape, and encouraging people to immediately advise police and to have a fast track, like, boom, you're in the hospital, do the swabs, do the tests, and plan B. I'm not against plan B. That's literally like the very next day. I still believe it's on a cell. It's like a cell still. Some people go as far as to say, nope, the minute that the sperm and egg meet, it's conception. I'm fine, in my opinion, with plan B. Hey, Real Tuesday channel, watch Women of Dragon, Sebastian. Hey, man, thanks for coming. And G Slayer. All right, guys. I'll play one more of my videos, and then after I will. I do have some stuff on saturated fat, more like diet stuff. That's what we were talking about. So I do have some content that's maybe interesting, and I'll post also a invite. So if you guys want to come on, I'm going to post the invite right now. If you do want to join, you will end up being in the back room. Just give me a second, and I'll let you guys in. I just have to do a few things. I'm going to play a video. What else? So yeah. So you're free to join. Just stay in the back studio. If you don't want to have your face, you want to keep that private. When you do click the link, you'll see on the bottom that it says stop camera. So you can like press stop camera, and that will you'll pop on, and it'll be kind of like whatever your avatar is. So away we go with another video. So much clicking to do. Clickety clack. All right. Your channel. I'm going to put a loud, aggressive one that gives you a headache or something. I got one that there's a lot of flicker. So if you have epilepsy, please close your eyes. Yeah, this was. All right. 6 minutes, and then enough with my old videos. We'll get into the topic, and hopefully I'll have some friends to talk to on the panel. Oops. Sorry, guys. Just want to make sure that it's, am I still on full screen? Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. Dead air time. Share screen. I remember I did a pre-recorded video, and the whole freaking time I didn't say share audio. It's just me speaking to myself with no audio. And it was a good video, and you're like, so I ended up having to do it again. And it's never as good the second time around. And then you're like forgetting, did I say that in the first time, or do I have to say that point again? It was horrible. Here you go. All right, that's enough of that. I was really really sad. The last picture, or one of the last ones, where you got the parents like completely like unconscious, ODing somewhat, not somewhat, freaking ODing, unconscious in the front seat while this little like kid is there. You know, it's a problem. Like drugs really, it's really a gateway to the demonic, and once that drug is used, all sorts of demonic energy and demonic spirits can really grab hold of you. I really think when people like drink so much and they're blacked out, I believe that, you know, they're so drunk but they're still going, and the person has no memory of it at all, and they do horrible things when they're blacked out. And you know, there's a reason why they call you know, hard stuff spirits, you know. So when we look at, when in the Bible, when they call it sorcery, if you look at the actual word, and maybe I can do that, the actual word for sorcery in the Bible is pharmakia. So if you go to, what I usually use is the Blue Letter Bible. It's online, and I like it because it has it has within it the Strong Concordance. It has all the manuscripts, and every single word. Let's say, because the New Testament was written in Greek, so they have the oldest Greek manuscripts, and every letter you can click in English, click, and then it goes to the Greek word that was on that manuscript. That's why there's so many translations. Now, first of all, the Bible is not a translation of a translation of a translation of a translation. It's basically, because each word has, you know, English too, many possible meanings and stuff like that, that some of them use it and interpret it a different way. Some of them are really bad interpretations. But the fact that we have a overwhelming amount, let's say, of translations, we have a lot of translations. Now they're all on one database, and there's comparisons, there's commentary, criticisms, pretty much weeded out the inconsistencies between translations, because we have access on databases like Blue Letter Bible. There's Logos software, there's a Strong Concordance, and you right now can go and say, what's that word there in my translation? What's the original? And then after, you can go and see. So we won't do too much there of the Bible there. I'd like to get into other topics. Come on, yeah, you guys shy? Please come on. Especially the Real Tuesday channel. Your content's awesome. I didn't subscribe yet, but I will. Let's stop. Okay, let's go to the Blue Letter Bible. So blue. Search tool. So here, for example, let's say Genesis 1, just whatever, just Genesis 1. So here it has, Genesis, just the Bible. So you can go over here to tools. Okay, so when you open the tools, you'll have the interlinear, you'll have you'll have cross references, you'll have commentaries, dictionaries. So you have all sorts of tools here. See, this is taken again. So go look up the Masoretic text and see it's why we use the Masoretic text for translations. Then after you'll go, let's say right away, God is Elohim, so you can go back and see exactly what is being said. Now, what I want to try and find is sorcery, just to show you. Let's see. I always put quotes. I don't know if this is going to work, but maybe, hopefully. All right, is this the New Testament? Yeah, okay. So if I go to tools, where was the sorcery? It was towards the end, eh? Wait, sorry. Where was the sorcery? Just before was a certain called which city used sorcery. All right, let me. There was a man called Simon, which beforehand in the city same used sorcery. Let me see. This one is not, but I want to find the damn pharmakia one. Maybe I can write pharmakia. I don't know if I can do it in the opposite. No. Let's versus with that's how it's spelled. So let's check Galatians 5:20. Then we'll get out of here. $520, wasn't it? I misspell it. All right, so let's look at witchcraft. Watch this. I'm gonna look like a damn liar. Here. So I said sorcery, witchcraft, right? So look, pharmakia. So it's been translated to witchcraft, and so it's like, okay, but when the translators choose various words, they still have the original Greek from the Masoretic text for this example. But see, this one is the Textus Receptus. So go see about the Masoretic text. Go see about the Textus Receptus, and look at its authenticity or when it was dated. So let's look. See, this is Strong's Concordance. So I go to Strong's Concordance. It says pharmakia, pronounced pharmakia.
Strong's G 5331. Pharmakia.
Oh, pharmakia.
Pharmakia.
Pharmakia. All right. I prefer my pharmakia. Pharmakia. All right. And it means, listen, to use or the administering of drugs, poisoning, sorcery, magical arts, often found in connection with idolatry, blah, 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 the deception, seduction of idolatry. Look at these, though. The use of administering drugs and poisoning, pharmakia, sorcery, Have we guys, have we experienced a little bit of the pharmakia? Has there been a little bit of witchcraft lately that the world experienced in the last 2-3 years? So witchcraft sounds like, a witch and a potion, but what they mean by witchcraft is pharmakia, the use of medication or poisons. There's one where it says the nations deceive the population with their sorcery. So it's even scarier when you find out that what they're really saying is the nations are deceiving the people with medication, pharmakia. So I think that medicine is not a bad thing, but it can be weaponized like anything else. So down to one viewer. Now I'm sad again. Everybody get back on, okay? I do want to talk about the 10 types of fat. Me and JD had started just to talk about the various fats, cholesterol, the studies, and stuff like that. And then after we kind of like took off on a tangent, but it's too bad. Like all of a sudden the viewers, we had 6 viewers at one point, and then we dropped. Then the stream died. Because JD's not here. No one wants to talk to me. They're all here for JD, probably. Didn't realize the avatar is my hospital avatar. Boom. So when we look at various types of fat, so we had went at the start of JD's stream, and we were talking about the study on saturated fat, the 5 studies that said that it's actually, there's not much evidence involved with saturated fat being bad, which is what we've always heard. And now science is coming up with more information, more recent information. Of course, this is never being given a platform. No one's talking about that. So 10 types of saturated fat reviewed. The health effects of saturated fats are a controversial topic. In the past, saturated fat was widely believed to be a major cause of heart disease. Today, scientists are not entirely convinced. One thing is clear, saturated fat is not a single nutrient. It's a group of different fatty acids with varying effects on health and metabolism. A lot of people just think of saturated, there's saturated fat. Like it's just one hard clump, and that's what we call saturated fat. There's actually many types of saturated fatty acids. So one thing is clear, saturated fat is not a single nutrient. This article is detailed look at the 10 most common saturated fatty acids, including the health effects of dietary sources. What is saturated fat? Saturated and unsaturated fats are the 2 main classes of fat. These groups, though, they differ slightly in their chemical structure and properties. For instance, saturated fat is generally solid at room temperature, while unsaturated fat is liquid. The main dietary source of saturated fat are fatty meat, lard, tallow, cheese, butter, cream, coconut oil, palm oil, and cocoa butter. All fats, they said coconut oil. All fats are composed of molecules called fatty acids, which are chains of carbon atoms. The different types of saturated fatty acids can be distinguished by the length of their carbon chain. Here are the most common saturated fatty acids in the human diet. So talk to those vegans. Maybe if they're spying on my channel. or trolling, maybe they'll learn something. But ask the majority of people, as well, especially vegans that are supposed to be like, hey, they know nutrition, they know the meta-analysis studies. So ask them, oh, by the way, how many different fatty acids are there? Saturated fatty acids. And you let them say, what do you mean? Like then after you can just like go, well, there's stearic acid, palmitic acid, lauric, capric, caproic, and then you can kind of, you'll show that they're ignorant of actual nutrition and just know things very superficially. It's rare to find saturated fatty acids other than this in the diet. So the saturated fatty acids that are less than 6 carbon atoms long are collectively known as short-chain fatty acids. These are produced when gut bacteria ferment fiber they create in your gut from fiber you eat, and can also be found in trace amounts in some fermented foods. Saturated fatty acids are one of the 2 major categories of fat. Common dietary saturated fatty acids are the ones that I just tried to pronounce. I'm gonna have to practice that. If there's only one person here, can you just tell me who it is? So I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Oh, well, hopefully people will watch later. So how does saturated fat affect health? Most scientists now accept that saturated fats are not as unhealthy as previously assumed. Evidence suggests that they don't cause heart disease, though their exact role is still being debated and investigated. However, replacing saturated fat with unsaturated fats, such as omega-3, may reduce your risk of heart attacks. This doesn't necessarily mean that saturated fat are unhealthy. It simply suggests that certain unsaturated fats aid your health. Certain unsaturated fats aid your health. And it's important to understand that when you're eating a steak, you are not getting only saturated fat. You are getting saturated fat. You're getting the monounsaturated fat. You're getting the omega-6 and omega-3 polyunsaturated fats, the essential omega-6 and 3s, in a well-balanced ratio, so that omega-3 is important. We all should be going out of our way, especially in society now with the kind of foods they're eating. Keep your omega-3 consciously. Take omega-3. Try not to do this through supplementation. Up your eggs. You're going to get vitamin omega-3 through among other things, about 8 different vitamins, but you're going to get omega-3 with that. I used to be buying, it was cod liver oil in a can. And that was basically, you'd have the whole oil and then you have the cod liver. Not crazy about the taste. It tastes very like gelatiny, and but all of that oil you can just like suck down. That is way better, and it's a huge amount. And I could probably, I'm not sure if I still have some. Oh, my back is gonna get no. Let me see if I still got some cod liver in a can. No, those are sardines. Oh, there's one left. What's the date? It's been a crap long time that I've had that. Anyways, it's cod liver in a can. And if you look at the nutrition in it, sorry, I need a light here. So omega-3 is 9 grams. That's crazy. If you look at just the sardines, if you're going to get sardines, get it in fresh water, okay? Because all the other stuff is like soybean. So when I look at the sardines, okay, if I eat all of this, I'll get 1 gram. Okay, If I eat this, I get 9 grams. That's crazy. This is a huge boost. You should like suck down at least once a week cod liver in a can. You get tons of the oil, much better chance that it's not rancid. Don't trust the supplements. You never know what you're getting. Don't forget, omega-3 supplements, that's quite a little process, right? It has to be processed through machines, put into these pills and packaged and in bottles for a long time. So it could be quite rancid or not effective. So anyways, since it's a quiet stream, we'll stop with the saturated fat, and then after, unless people arrive, and on top of it, my wife just arrived and my granddaughter, so we're not going to be staying on for very much longer. Don't forget to go see the Real Tuesday channel. We'll check that just before I go off at the end. I just want to get through the article about the different types of saturated fat. Maybe I just want to look a little bit at the Real Tuesday channel. So I got to subscribe, and I just want to see maybe 1 or 2 of her content to give you guys an idea. Top G in-house. What up, Sebastian? I would have thought that you would have came online. Thank you for being really engaging. Wow, this is trippy, isn't it? Hey, Margaret. I'm probably not doing the stream that much longer. At one point, it dropped down to 1 viewer, and then my wife arrived, and my granddaughter is staying with us. She's 2 years old, so I'm not going to be hanging around too long on this. I just want to finish the article on the saturated fat. We already went through pretty much. However, replacing saturated fat with unsaturated fats, such as omega-3s, may reduce your risk of heart attack. I think that implementing time-restricted feeding, intermittent fasting, always having a 16-hour window is the minimum that you should do. You should be fasted 16 hours at least and 8 hours. That gives your body time to activate a little bit of autophagy, gives time for you to burn some calories. It keeps your insulin nice and low to prevent insulin resistance and future diabetes. You're loading yourself up with the omega-3s. You're avoiding the seed oils, the omega-6 seed oils directly, as well as looking at the sides of the packages. You'll see that all of them have soybean oil. Even if you're avoiding soybean oil and you're eating a lot of the Triscuits, a lot of the middle section, you will still be consuming a significant amount of omega-6 that'll slip in and you won't even realize it. And unless you're really like trying to bolus yourself at least once a week, one day, a huge omega-3 diet, and then maintain that with eggs. All animal food does have these ratios. Unfortunately, though, with the way we feed grain to pigs and as well as beef, it's still way better than eating the crap in the middle and avoiding meat, but it will have a much higher omega-6. I don't think that you're going to screw up the ratio that much if you're avoiding the middle section, you're not using the soybean, and even if at the moment you can't find grass-fed, then eating that, the ratio is a little bit off, but it's still way better than anything else that you can get at the moment in the supermarket. Once you get into the game here with that, I would try and seek out farmers. Try and literally walk up and ask them, if there's cows and stuff, how they're raised, what they're fed, and try and buy it directly from the farmer. That's something I've done in the past. And sometimes the excuse is, oh, well, I can't afford right now to buy a whole cow. Well, you can split it with 3 people. Well, you can split it with 6 people. The point is that if you, and I'm guilty of this, if we keep on saying, well, I believe in that, and I know that I don't like this grain-fed industry and large cattle stuff like that. But I'm going to continue buying that because, no, I mean, if we really want to encourage and not let the actual traditional, historical, ancient methods of ruminant animals on the soil, peeing, pooping, building up the grasslands, and the whole methane, CO2, ammonia cycle that brings the earth alive. This doesn't necessarily mean that saturated fats are unhealthy. It simply suggests that certain unsaturated fats aid your health. For this reason, eating low amounts of unsaturated fat is probably not a good idea. You hear that, vegans? To reduce your risk of heart disease, make sure that unsaturated fats comprise of a substantial portion of your total fat intake. In comparison, replacing saturated fat with carbs doesn't provide any health benefits. It even impairs your blood lipid profile, which is a measurement of the levels of lipids in your blood, such as cholesterol and triglycerides. So it says, don't start replacing the saturated fat with carbs. It doesn't do any health benefits. It even impairs your blood results and stuff. So it's a bad move, right? That's basically what we're saying. It's a bad move. Well, the issue is that if that statement holds true, there's a glare, right, from the other light probably. It's this backlight. Sorry, give me a second, guy. Which one is it? Sorry, I have to switch the lights on. Yeah, so what we just read said, don't remove saturated fat just to increase carbohydrates. It gives you no benefit, and it can possibly cause actually issues. You know, may make you fatter, insulin resistance, and you're not doing yourself a favor. So what did they do in the 1950s based on Ansel Keys's cherry-picked fraudulent study? They decided to remove as much as possible the saturated animal fat, or all of it, the animal fat. So monosaturated, saturated, omega-3, all of it. Let's reduce drastically, because he made a claim based on an epidemiological study, which is an observational study that was cherry-picked that had 22 countries, and he only took 7 to make the appearance of a linear association. When you look at the 22 studies, you see that there's not much linear association at all, but that didn't work for his agenda. And he literally convinced and changed the way humans ate. He's one of the most influential people that has killed probably more people than any regime because of his deception and his ambition in his career. Because he said that saturated fat as well as cholesterol is what is causing the increase in heart disease. So what happened is everything started to become what you call low fat. So you'd see low fat packaging. So protein maintained itself pretty constant. But if you have protein in your food, but you only have fat and carbohydrates to work with, assuming the protein's constant. As you decrease the saturated fats, as you decrease fat in your diet, you have to increase sugar to compensate. So as we became fat phobic, we became carb addicted, and they weren't telling us the truth about sugar and things like that. So people were eating low-fat products with a lot more sugar, than they were adding all these seed oils that are solvent-based, omega-6, oxidized, toxic human creations. So that's what has been making us sicker and sicker. Yet we're still getting demonized about the animal food, still talking about saturated fat, still talking about cholesterol. And the thing is that oh, well, science says this, science says that. No, in reality, okay, the science is out there, and public policy and what's presented to the people, policy, all that stuff is they'll present whatever they want, whatever study that might show an association, they'll bring that up, and all of a sudden, great, look, everyone's like, oh, well, the science says that. Meanwhile, they don't acknowledge that the majority of people don't know the difference between link, risk, association. Everything seems to be oh, that's causation. So it's pretty freaking deceptive. All right. Oops, sorry, camera went up. Okay. All right, so let's go back to the article. Screen share. Actually, I'm gonna post this. Obviously, this posts itself. But I do have one, a recorded one that I did yesterday. I might post 2 videos then. Then I have a third one that's a response video. I might post that maybe tomorrow. This doesn't necessarily mean that saturated fats are unhealthy. It simply suggests that certain unsaturated fats aid in your health. You understand? Some unsaturated fats have specific benefits that are even more beneficial than certain saturated fats. Not implying that saturated fat is bad just because this unsaturated fat has some known and acknowledged healthy effects. For this reason, eating low amounts of unsaturated fat is probably not a good idea. To reduce your risk of heart disease, make sure that unsaturated fats comprise a substantial portion of your fat intake. In comparison, replacing unsaturated fats with carbs doesn't provide any health benefit. It even impairs your blood lipid panel, which is measurements of the levels of lipids in your blood, such as cholesterol and triglycerides. Though it's clear that some saturated fats may raise LDL, that people consider bad cholesterol levels, the link between cholesterol levels and heart disease is more complex than that. For instance, saturated fats raise the levels of large LDL cholesterol particles, which are not as strongly associated with heart disease as smaller and denser particles. So I mentioned this on JD's. I mentioned at the start of my other stream. The issue here is LDL is not created by the body to try and kill you. Low density lipoprotein has a job. It is a fat, lipid, cholesterol, nutrient transporter. So you have these fats within your bloodstream, and they can't go where they want. They need to be shuttled around specifically by these little LDL buses. And then within LDL, you have a couple of particle sizes, and there's only one particle size that's very low density lipoprotein, very, very small. And these can be problematic, but they're problematic not in and of themselves. It's problematic if you oxidize or glycate your LDL. How do you hurt and break the LDLs? You have to eat high amounts of sugar. This will spike insulin, so you'll have elevated insulins because you're eating every 3 to 5 hours, so your insulin's staying high. That can be that is an issue. You have oxidative stress. That's an issue. So if your LDL is flying through the bloodstream of a standard American dieter, eating pizza and side dishes, like these kind of people create a very toxic environment for the vessels, as well as all the little molecules. The hemoglobin can get oxidized and can get glycated. So, you have to make sure that you're not creating a harsh and toxic environment. And because you are creating a toxic environment, the LDL, because you're not feeding enough omega-3s in your, let's say the average person is consuming 10% of their calories through the soybean oil. They're eating butter. They're No, they're eating margarine instead of butter. They're cooking with Crisco shortening instead of lard. So all of this creates a high omega-6 level, and the omega-6 becomes a component of cells, of vessels, of lipids, of fat under your skin, goes in your brain. So what happens is this becomes very easily oxidized, easily damaged in the bloodstream, easily and highly inflammatory. And these LDL in one of the studies that I had posted on my video, and as well as JD, if you go back to his live stream, is the vegetable seed oil that causes your LDL to contain too much omega-6, and then LDL with omega-6 are easily damaged and distorted. But LDL that has a high content of omega-3 seem to be much more resistant. So again, if you're eating your seed oils, your LDL will be pathological. And yes, that is an issue, and it is a part of a complex process of arteriosclerosis. Understanding that arteriosclerosis occurs first when you have a toxic environment inside your blood, and it irritates the vessels, and finally you start having fissures and lesions that need to be healed, and the LDL is just a transporter of a lot of material that is there to heal. But everything is screwed up. So LDL is not the cause of issues. LDL is part of the victim. LDL has been victimized. And when it has been victimized and violence has been set upon this molecule, along with a lot of other things, you become unhealthy. But they're blaming LDL as if it's like in and of itself. If we didn't have LDL, guys, we would die, be dead. So the stearic acid is the second most common saturated fat in the American diet. Compared with carbs and other saturated fats, stearic acid lowers LDL cholesterol slightly or has neutral effects. As such, it may be healthier than many of the other saturated fats. Research shows that your body partly converts stearic acid to oleic acid, a healthy unsaturated fat. However, according to some estimates, the conversion rate is only 14% and may not have much health relevance. The main dietary source of stearic acid is animal fat. Levels of stearic acid are usually low in plant fats, with the exception of coconut oil, cocoa butter, and palm kernel oil. Stearic acid is considered a healthy saturated fat and does not appear to raise your risk of heart disease. This held true even in the 40-day study in people whose stearic acid intake constituted up to 11% of their total calorie intake. Stearic acid is the second most common saturated fat in the American diet. It appears to have neutral effects on the blood panel. Palmitic acid is the most common saturated fat in plants and animals. This acid may comprise over half of the total saturated fat. The richest dietary source is palm oil, but palmitic acid also makes up approximately a quarter of the fat in the red meat. Compared with carbs and unsaturated fat, palmitic acid raises level of total cholesterol and LDL cholesterol without affecting the good cholesterol. The high level of LDL cholesterol as well are a well-known risk factor for heart disease. Still, not all LDL cholesterol is the same. Many accurate markers of heart disease are the presence of a large number of LDL particles and a small level and of small, dense LDL particles. Yeah, VLDL, very low density lipoproteins. Keeping in mind that LDL is not cholesterol, but it transports cholesterol among other nutrients. And the HDL, it's what picks up the LDL and brings it back to the liver for servicing, like a bus, to make sure. So if you have very low LDL, if you have very low HDL, then you have LDL there. It means that they're flowing around a possibly rough blood environment, and the HDL go and they shuttle these LDL back to the liver. So you want a high LDL. When linoleic acid, a type of unsaturated fat, is eaten at the same time, it can offset some of the palmitic effects on cholesterol. Palmitic acid may also affect other aspects of your metabolism. Studies in both mice and humans indicate that a high palmitic acid diet may adversely affect mood and reduce physical activity. Several human studies suggest that eating higher amounts of palmitic acid reduce the number of calories you burn compared with eating more unsaturated fat. So maybe we could do a video looking through increased insulin sensitivity. We have anti-seizures effects. This is kind of like, medium chain, what do you call it? MCT oil. So MCT oil, medium chain triglycerides. So MCT, you'll find it in most supplement stores. Keto people were using it. I don't really use it. It produces ketone elevations faster. So nothing bad with it, but I rather burn my body fat, especially if I have some fat to lose. But I just wanted to kind of make you interested in like, hey, I'm going to go check out Healthline and read up on these saturated fats. And the next time somebody brings up the conversation of oh yeah, but you're eating saturated fat, you're going to get a heart attack. Maybe you can end up telling them about this. So different saturated fatty acids have varying effects on health. Most studies have investigated the health effects of saturated fat as a whole without distinguishing between different types of fats. The evidence is largely comprised of observational studies, which are very low quality for making conclusions that investigate associations, not causations. Many of them link a high intake of saturated fat to an increased risk of heart disease, but the evidence is not entirely consistent. Though certain types of long-chain saturated fat may raise your level of LDL cholesterol, no compelling evidence proves any of them cause heart disease. More high-quality research is needed. Nevertheless, most official health organizations advise people to limit their intake of saturated fat and replace it with unsaturated fat. While the harmful effects of saturated fat are still a matter of debate, most agree that replacing saturated fat with unsaturated fat has benefits for the heart. All right, so that's done. We can talk about the Messiah next time. Here is also an article that you can read, Why Dietary Cholesterol Does Not Matter for Most People. If you look over here, I was going to talk a bit about the Messiah. So the Messiah, like literally, were pretty much carnivore completely. So the Maasai, the traditional Maasai culture is known as a culture where the men exclusively consume meat, milk, and blood for decades of their life and yet have no heart disease. The alleged dietary pattern could not be more opposite of the Papua New Guinea, rural Chinese, and Okinawa populations. This tribal culture is often referenced as proof that a low carbohydrate, high animal diet may be the healthiest, or at least that it isn't heart damaging. And I agree. You know what? Let's end it there. We can continue another time with this. So go see Garland Farm's last stream. We just finished it. Before that, so I did a recording. I don't think I did a stream. Let me just check. I've been doing so many that I'm starting to lose track. What's the last video that I posted? I'm getting tired. Yeah, so I have a few videos that I'm going to post. So we shall see each other very, very soon, guys. Anything before I leave? Hey, Margaret. Oh, yeah, sorry. I promised that I would go check the channel out. The Real Tuesday channel. She's pretty. There we go. Thank goodness I checked. I thought I was presenting. So everybody, please, she has some pretty good content. I want everybody who's watching this video to please subscribe to the channel. Let's look at some of her content. I am a real woman. But what is a woman? I thought that a woman was an umbrella term. I thought that a woman was somebody who identified as a woman. Are you a bigot? Sam Smith, yeah, that was disgusting. His freaking song, friggin' degenerate song, mocking God. Yeah, she really has some nice content. I like the titles. It's under Hive Mind. Oh yeah, she even has stuff to say about unnatural vegan. Very good content, I think. Almost died being vegan. See, what I'd like to do, but I think my channel is so really good content. What I'd like to do is interview ex-vegans. That's what I'd love to do. So 3 years ago, she did a live stream. So yeah, check out her content, guys. Now there's 5 people. Hey, Benton, how are you? Margaret. Did anybody just want to come on for the last 5 minutes, say hello, have a chat, and away we go. You can also talk about for the Real Tuesday channel. If you have not seen the debate on the Crucible, am I sharing? Yes, on the Crucible. So if you go to the Crucible, it's moderates a lot of debates. There you go. Go see this one.
Then you can't blame the animals that you're feeding the shell to for your pecan crop. Now, a similar situation is happening with corn, although based on the fact that
6% for aquaculture and 2% for beef and dairy production. Looking at corn production in the U.S., the majority is fed to animals, For corn-fed animals, the efficiency of converting grain to meat and dairy calories ranges from 3 to 40%. So at best, that's a 6.
Notice that they focus on calories. So the idea that, look, we have this much calories that are available to the world. These calories are pretty devoid of any significant amount of nutrients, meaning fat and water soluble vitamins, right? Or the essential EPA and DHA. But what they say is it's not effective because here's the cow. We put this many calories into the cow and we get less calories coming out. Yeah, I know, less calories, but nutrients, vitamins that didn't exist prior. So we're putting in stuff that has no nutrients. We're passing it into the cow. The cow ferments that with all the bacteria in the various chambers. Those bacteria create fatty acids. They create nutrients. And then after we eat the cow, and all these nutrients that didn't exist in the food is there. So this idea that calories in, it's not worth it. Look, it's like, dude, we are drowning in calories. The only reason there's poor areas is because of corruption and bureaucracy and politics and stuff like that, not allowing resources and stuff like that. Sometimes their own government.
60% loss in calories to the animal's excretions, basically. All while animal products make up 27% of total calories consumed by Americans. Looking at crop deaths from plant agriculture, it's estimated that there are 7.3 billion animal deaths per year, which include mouse deaths, birds killed by pesticides,
Fast forward,
fish killed by fertilizer runoff, and lizards and amphibians killed by eating pesticide-contaminated insects. This compared to the 9.5 billion land animals directly killed for food in the U.S. each year. When you add marine animals, that number becomes 55 billion animals directly killed for human consumption versus the 7.3 billion animal number for the casualties from plant agriculture. And with that, I yield.
all right. Armand,
Okay. Appreciate the opening statement. Felt like a teacher where you're like, okay, now who wants to read the next paragraph?
Yeah, it's like, I'm just going to sit here and read a paper. I'm not going to talk, and start expressing myself, show that you've assimilated the knowledge. No, I'm just going to sit there and read a vegan site that's stating these things that is completely out of context and wrong and not accurate.
All right. Mr. Farms, you're up. You have 7 minutes on the clock. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, it's ironic to be debating vegans on whether animal agriculture or crop agriculture is more harmful. The whole premise of being a vegan is to do the least amount of harm possible. And you can see that vegans do not really like to focus on the animal deaths that are associated with the crop agriculture that brings the vegan menu to the market. When you talk about crop agriculture, you're talking about oranges, apples, pears.
Watch Jeffrey rub his belly. It's cute. Watch up here, okay? Belly rub.
Cucumbers, avocados, celery, spinach, green beans, peas. The list just goes on and on and on. Livestock do not eat any of those. However, the two crops that are associated with animal feed are corn and soybean. When you look at soybean, for instance, it is certainly, they listed a lot of the destruction.
Just a minute, guys. I just want to make sure no one's in the background waiting to come on. Yes, it is. All right. Do I take a chance with this person? Let me see for a second. Edit mic setting. Oh, well. I'll take a chance. I hope he doesn't show porn. Hey, man.
Hello. It's Guggen Slayer.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Hey, buddy. It's the first time I don't recognize your handle, Spiral.
It's G Slayer.
Oh, hey, buddy. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just showing
No, I'm
them
not trying to
the
sabotage,
premise.
like you know.
No problem. No. I'll even stop the video if you want to chat and stuff like that. Stop
I'm interested in
video.
the debate. I watched it one
Yeah.
and a half times, I believe. I'm probably
Yeah.
more. It's good. Oh my god.
So what's your
And I've
thoughts?
been watching Garland Farms for a few years now.
Yeah. No, he's great, man.
Amazing. And I've been in ketosis for months. I haven't popped
Oh, yeah.
out.
I did it for years. I don't think I wasn't obsessed with being constant ketosis. I'm sure because when I would consume berries, I love berries.
Yeah, I know. You
But-
liked a lot of berries. I eat less than a cup when I do berries, and it's only
Yeah,
frozen raspberries.
That's it. I eat a ton,
I
so-
started putting a little bit of whipped cream on, not every time, small amount of
Mm-hmm.
whipped cream, because it said it's low calorie, but I'm sure
Yeah.
insulin spikes somewhat. But I'm really ketogenic, so insulin spikes are probably good.
I love it. And I use it as I need. I stopped doing it consistently, put on 25 pounds over the year. And now I'm like, okay, get back into it. And
How much would you say that 25 pounds is energy reserves and water compared to fat and other reserves like that?
I think the last I saw was 1 pound of fat is equal to 3,500 calories roughly. I used to hear 3,000, but if you put, every pound of fat has 3,500 calories. That's like over a day's worth. So if you have 100 pounds to lose, you have well over 100 days where your body will be supplied with enough calories. And that's why very fat people can go on very prolonged fast. I think one fast that was the longest fast in the world under a doctor's supervision was over 365 days because the guy was 500 pounds. All he did was take a multivitamin. So.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah. And then prisoners of war and people in prisons have been longer, I believe. And they're not super fat.
No, that's it. I like the appetite suppressant effect. When I'm on keto, I never have, cravings or anything. All of a sudden I'm not hungry. And then boom, maybe once a day I get hungry. Some days it seems like, maybe 7 days of one meal a day. All of a sudden I'm hungry. So I'll eat like as many meals as I need. So I really follow my hunger. I don't go overboard really with fat. So that's kind of like why I jumped a bit and I switched back and forth with keto and carnivore. I've never done carnivore strict, but I'll do like weeks of just meat. And that brings the fat ratio a little bit more even with the protein. You got keto's like kind of like a little bit higher fat, and then you got your protein, but carnivore brings it a little bit more equal. And I find since you're restricting the carbohydrates, then you don't have glucose, as you know, as an energy source. Because with keto, sometimes people plateau, and it's because they're in ketosis. You can check your ketones. You feel good, I really feel good in ketosis. But they're supplying every day all the fat they need through their mouth, through the diet. And then they still have plenty of fat, and they're doing keto because they want to lose weight. So that's when people follow these, like putting your weight and your age, your height, and it gives you your macronutrients. Forget about that.
I'm getting close to there.
Yeah, just eat animal food.
I have my sides and back that I want rid of.
Yeah, exactly. My little love handles over here,
Yeah, and they've already shrinking a lot. But it's going to be a plateau, and I don't eat high fat every day, or sometimes it will be consecutively, but there'll be some leaner days.
Yeah, mix it up, And
today I had fatty pork, and I'm pretty sure the animal was like somewhat free range and had a healthy diet too. It was hype.
Oh, that's good.
It tasted like beef. It was like
it
was cut like beef too.
There's like maybe some theoretical objections or I think JD brought a couple of things up about being in extended ketosis for way too long. I'd have to see the studies about that. I really don't think it's a problem. I don't think that it's necessarily some magical state once you've lost weight to maintain it. Also, I think that sometimes being a hunter and gatherer, I think we were more in ketosis than anything. But I think sometimes they were able to get certain amount of carbohydrates, and that would pop them out too. So.
Yeah, ketosis sounds incredibly important for predatory animals since their prey is so difficult to catch.
Yeah,
wolves come to mind. Their prey is so difficult. They need to have extended periods.
I have one that's on my channel. Go to videos. If I scroll all the way down, at one point I did do maybe this was when I did a 3-day fast or something. You try and do more prolonged fast, you'd be surprised. Like, you start with 1 meal a day, do that for a while, and then after try and do, add 16 hours to that one.
That's how I started.
Yeah. Because
I got up to like 90 hours, man. Just because just because of this is how I wanted to grow my discipline.
Yeah.
And it was so good. It cured my food addiction, sugar and food addiction. I was addicted to ultra processed foods.
Yeah.
Almost every day.
Pizzas and all sorts of
stuff. McDonald's and the crazy shit.
And people were telling me, oh my God, you don't eat that and this. And oh, wow, you're way more like willpower and stuff like that. And I was like, actually, no. I said, that's why I don't like popping myself out of ketosis, because the next day, well, first of all, if I'm eating the carbs, I'll binge right away. And then the next day, it's like almost like I have to consciously say, okay, I'm done. Or sometimes my voice will be like, well, just one more day, then I'll go back. Then before I can get off track, and it might take me 2 weeks to get back. My appetite's back. I'm trying to get into ketosis. I'm eating 3 meals a day of keto, meal. It's just like, I don't like that. So I like.
Yeah, I'm eventually gonna probably get into that, and then I'm gonna have to dial it back. But I'm thinking of the best starches to use. I guess potato comes to mind to refill my glycogen. Is it anything or almost anything besides processed and ultra processed, or is it like is it good starch? Pizza dough.
JD would have, because he does sports nutrition stuff. Where like he's kind of did that becoming a farmer. No, I don't think it's a problem. Like to have a little bit of a potato on the side. That's what I tell my son, because he got super lean. He's doing his muscles. He's checking his stuff out. And I told him, I was like, wow, yeah, you really look ripped. But I said, you're growing. I said, now you're super lean, because we can see a lot your abs. So you're like 10% maybe. I said, you're going to have to start adding fat. And I told him, add, it's called like basically a modified keto. So every day you're popping yourself out of ketosis, but it's what you do is you train, then you eat for the day, large meal, all the protein and fat, and then add a side dish, like you said. That helps fill up the glycogen. Then you continue to fast all day. And then when you get to the gym fasted, you beast it out. Then after you feast again. So it's beast, feast, fast, beast, feast, fast. One of the added benefits of that, I don't know if you've seen this before, it's fasting.
Is that for bulking or weight loss, or both?
Fasting effect on I don't think the idea of bulking and then cutting, bulking and cutting, primarily when they're saying that, they're talking about adding a lot more carbs for the bulk, right? And then
I mean muscle gain, not bulking.
Yeah, I think that if you're eating a high amount of animal food and you're replacing your glycogen post-exertion so that you can go hard again, then replace post-exertion, you will naturally build muscle, just supply a lot of fat and protein. If you actually look in a biology book, you'll see that muscle muscle glucose is nowhere in there, meaning like you don't necessarily need glucose to create with the protein that you supply new muscle. So anyways, all to say that is just replace your glycogen, and that will depend, right? Somebody with like really big muscles can get a lot more glucose in them, and it won't spill into fat. So you start low, and then you increase slow, and you do this like 1 week at a time. So 10 grams increased. Okay, I'll check it out. Then another 10 grams the next week. Now I'm up to 20 above my other. Then you just go like that. But yeah, definitely, like I'm telling my son Josiah, no, like carb up after, and I'm just letting him know you probably don't need another 5 meals of carbs before you go to the gym. It's like you just exercise, your muscle is ready to accept everything. Your cells are ready to accept everything after an exertion. So if ever you plateau, there's your body, it doesn't matter. You start amping up maybe a 2-day fast every week. And then if you can get 3 days of fasting, 4 days of feeding, 3 days, that's going. And then go for a couple, because you can do this a couple of weeks. It's not sustainable, but if you want to do all these various little tricks and stuff like
That's how
that.
it's been for me. Variations and tricks and experimenting, and I've been flawless, like no problems.
Like when I did as much weight loss as I could, I didn't do that much fasting. I was doing 1 meal a day. I went lean, so I didn't have carbs. I was eating lean cut steaks, and I did that for like a month. I'm sure I had some eggs here and there. I'm sure I had some cheese, but the majority, the bulk of the staple of those 3-4 weeks was here, let me check.
I just got used to working out in a fasted state.
Well, that's great.
I know, it's crazy. So now I'm losing weight at the same rate as when I was fasting near the beginning.
Yeah, because it's it creates internally.
The hydration's getting really different though. I'm having to like pound water. And before I had problems, I wasn't drinking enough, and I had a little bit of blood in the urine and just really concentrated urine, and my urine gets super concentrated fast now. So like my whole I don't rely on my thirst at all. Like I just need to like pound water like 4 times a day.
Wow.
And I got tested for bacterial infection in the kidneys, and nothing came up.
Okay. Here, this was the one lost 12 pounds in 32 days. 11 pounds and 30.
And I started
beef.
So I used the carnivore diet, really just beef heavy. That's it. And I got right back on track. So, but then after, then I'll carnivore, keto. It's like, I just mean like animal based, very low carb diet. I guess that's the best way I can explain it. I eat for convenience. Sometimes it's like, well, you know what? I don't have time, and here's eggs. Okay, I'll eat like 6 or 7 or 8 eggs one day. Oh, I bought like a pack of ground beef. I make hamburger patties, and I'll eat that for 2-3 days in a row. Then
I have my own chickens.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I kind of just rotate like that,
And I'm getting help with the food bill, and I'm able to afford grass-fed and other like healthier animals. I know, it's so cool.
Here, this one is when I was really into it there. Just a minute.
And I caught perch on Saturday, like I told you.
Oh, you're the one that was talking.
Yeah.
I remember. Yeah.
Like I cleaned it myself and all that. I'm really experienced angler, so like I was winter fishing in very cold conditions on the kayak.
Here's one of my shopping.
And I use artificial lures, so no worms. Yeah, the perch can be pretty tricky without worms, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. This was my kind of carnivore. I had a steak. This is just bison, feta cheese. This was shrimps. This is processed, like I'm eating now, processed like sausage.
I love the hard sausage and salami,
Yeah, bacon,
but
butter.
they have carbs in it, but
sausages.
just small.
Yeah, just
The bacon,
escargot.
obviously. Try not to overdo the bacon.
Yeah, this is caviar. Don't forget, like when our grandparents on the farm, kind of the local farm, they had bacon, but there's no nitrates in it. The only thing that's bad about it is the nitrates, the so-called bad. You know,
Yeah, to give it
the
shelf
bacon
life or
itself
whatever.
is
The color and stuff.
That's it. So sometimes, you can actually get.
I have family in the food industry and culinary.
Mm-hmm. What else?
So I learned about the sodium nitrite they put in the food really early on. And it's in so much.
Yeah. Over here on the bottom right, I was talking about a little today, is cod liver in a can. If you look at trying to get like more omega-3 in your diet,
oh wow,
you have like sardines and stuff like that. Those are good. If you turn
that's
it
what I
around,
thought you were gonna say. You threw me a curveball with this cod liver.
Mm-hmm. That's it. The sardines are great. Sorry, I'm gonna chew. Oh, stop eating. Sardines are good, great. But when I showed it, it was 1 gram for that whole can of omega-3. And that cod liver in a can was 9 grams. Like you take that once a week, and on top of it, eat animal food, avoid the seed oil. I'm telling you, you'll notice in the summer, you won't burn. Wherever you are on the burning,
Yeah, I get a lot of sun exposure.
Yeah, and I noticed one summer when I was doing this, obsessed with the omega-3, really going after cod liver in a can, and I could not burn.
Even your lips? My lips get burned.
All day I'm walking around, I'm going, the hell?
Oh my God.
That's red, tan. Then I come, it's not peeling or anything. People think, oh, I got dry skin. Yeah, you know why? Because if you want to hold hydration in your skin, it has a lot to do with the fat just below your skin. And if you are consuming omega-6, it's going to be a fat that's kind of more oxidized. It will be more inflammatory, and people just avoid fat like the plague. So their skin gets dry. It's the fat that holds the moisture. And people don't know that. So
my mother constantly compliments my skin, and I think it's the fat and the GH spike, growth hormone, and then just the fat in the skin.
Yeah. I showed you
different.
the fasting effect one. Here.
Skin and hair. My dandruff or the dry scalp, all the skin that falls out, especially in the winter, it's almost all gone.
Yeah.
And I had the fuzzy vision, which is pre-diabetic or something. Cleared up. In one eye, it'd be fuzzy.
Nice. Here, man. This is why I tell my son to beast feast fast. So here's the control group, which is the typical 8 to 8. So 8 o'clock, let's say early in the sleep cycle, you get a growth hormone spike here. Then I guess in the morning, close to when you're about to wake up, you get another one. So you got a little bit of growth hormone here. But when you look at when you look at 1 day fast, meaning like people that fast pretty much, and when they get home, they eat one huge meal, like for the day, packed with animal food, animal fat. Let's do it, a huge meal. And then after, because you're not eating all throughout the day, you get 1, 2, 3 additional spikes. You get an insanely huge spike here. So if you're using 1 meal a day and trying to fast, then
I'm 1 meal a day the past 2 days.
Well, then
yesterday was only a small egg and a small piece of fish, and I went to the gym.
Yeah. Well,
today was like 1,000 calories, pretty hearty and fatty, and I did gym. Yeah. And I might have berries later, or probably not. So the growth hormones are spiking, especially when I sleep.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting tons of additional growth hormone spikes and stuff like that. I literally was debating this with an endocrinologist who was like, I'm an endocrinologist and I don't agree with what you're saying.
That's studying what exactly?
Endocrinology is a physician, a doctor
Skins?
that specializes in your endocrine, which is your hormones. So
Yeah.
all
Oh
the
my
hormones.
God, it's so complex and shit.
It's supposed to be like the hormone people. And meanwhile, she's telling me that intermittent fasting is not good, and that
Yeah.
I'm an endocrinologist, and I don't agree with what you're saying, and what you're saying is danger. And I'm going, no one's debating intermittent fasting. So I turned around to her and I said, well, I said, you're a doctor. I respect that. But I said, I said, I'm sorry that you're getting, I'm sorry. Well, how did it came out good? I said, well, I'm really sorry that I'm bothering you while you eavesdrop on my conversation. I said, well, if I ever have to work with you and you're the boss, I will listen. But I said, you're a doctor. You have zero education in nutrition. I know that you guys get one session with the food pyramid. So I said, your profession is treating insulin resistance, which is a disease when insulin is chronically high in the body, and you guys are giving insulin to insulin resistant patients. I said that's like going to the doctor and saying, I've been drinking a bottle of vodka. The effect is no longer, I'm tolerant now, I'm resistant to it. And he goes, don't worry, I'll prescribe you 2 bottles now. It's the same thing, because people talk about blood sugar. Blood sugar is a symptom of diabetes, but the cause is an insulin resistance, meaning the people had eaten too many carbs. That's very insulin spiking. And then after, they're hungry all the time, so they're keeping their insulin elevated. It never really goes down. They're actually eating for 16 hours, and then they're only fasting for 8 while they sleep, when in reality you should be doing the opposite. At least eat and then leave 16 hours to go. And so I told her, I was going back and forth with her, and I was like, so why wouldn't you create an environment that is low in insulin to actually heal and put into remission the actual disease that you're saying is chronic and progressive? I said, it's not chronic and progressive. I said, the way you guys are treating it is chronic and progressive, because you are giving the poison. You're giving insulin to somebody who has a disease, and the disease is high insulin.
Yeah, that's how much she believes in the treatment, that it's like these patients get like a pass because the treatment is so good in advance. And it's also like giving the obese people and the fat people like no hope, or like a pass as well. What does she think about a caloric deficit? What if you just called it a caloric deficit diet with longer eating windows or whatever? Like, is like, what does she think about eating a low calorie? That's how like people would lose weight.
So, well, I think
or she wants little snacks. If you're gonna do caloric deficit, you could do snacks.
The recommendations before insulin became like a pharmaceutical thing, that's like probably millions and millions of dollars, if not billions, for the pharmaceutical. Again, there's no way that they want to stop giving insulin.
Yeah, so conflict of interest.
When you do keto, you're probably naturally a lot less hungry. You're doing the intermittent fasting. The food that you eat really fills you up, and you're probably just naturally, without trying, in a caloric deficit. That's quite possible.
Yeah, I don't count. But I'm somewhat experienced with food in general, not counting calories and nutrition, all that, but I understand food somewhat.
But the people that
and
are
1,000 calorie one meal, or like 2 smaller meals, is really good for me.
There's no way. I'm sure I don't even hit 2,000 calories.
Yeah, 2,000 seems a lot. Obviously you should be a training person if you're doing that much. And they group us like all fucking together. Oh, excuse me. They group us all together and like gives this like too like holistic like idea of like, and then they don't consider the nutrients as much. It's all about the calories, like you guys say. It's like it's all about calories. They're not equal.
They never hear about you never hear about nutrients, especially with the vegans. The Biggest Loser, which, remember, that was a show.
Yeah.
And it was basically the
reunions.
The typical model eat less, move more. That was the thing. So
Yeah, and people followed it and failed because it's just designed to fail.
their
Seemingly.
metabolism was trashed, and that's why there was no like you said, reunion, because I think all of them but one, I think, put all the weight back on. So you have to lose weight in a fashion that is not like the typical eat more meals but eat less, because what is that telling your body? It's saying there's no food scarcity at all here. But eventually, what, I'm going to be in a negative deficit, I'm going to indefinitely lose weight, and then until I become a skeleton? No, of course not. Your metabolism's here. You lower the amount that you're putting, you'll lose weight, but eventually, if you're doing it over and over too long, it just starts going here. So now you have this many calories, but your metabolism's there. You're not losing weight. So, okay, what? You got to drop it a little bit more, your calories, and then it'll slow down, and eventually.
And muscle sparing.
Yeah. So what it seems like intermittent fasting, and eating and varying and popping out of ketosis sometimes if you're having something, mixing it up, keeping your metabolic pathways on edge, like, oh, okay, I can do this here a little bit. I'm fasting for the day. Oh, I'm starving today. I'm going to have 3
Yeah, my
meals.
body's in like super scarcity mode, and then I give it such good food.
Yeah. Yeah. When you actually eat something that is, all the nutrients, like you can look, okay, what is the animal foods that have vitamin A? Good. Write it down. Okay. B. Okay. C.
I'm
D.
worried about C because I don't do the organ
Liver.
meat.
Me neither. So that's why
I probably have a palate for it, but like, I don't want to buy it right now.
that's why, like, even
I'm curious to find like good sources though, and I will buy it. But I have the liposomal, some liposomal C packets, some high quality vitamin C supplement. And then should I be taking more fruits?
Well, you know what? For vitamin C, what?
What's the easiest way to dose it? Obviously the
You
organs.
you hardly need vitamin C.
Okay.
It's not like 10 milligrams is enough to prevent the scurvy. And when you
So it is trace. It's trace. Or somewhat trace.
We'll find out. Broccoli, nutritional.
Because they put this vitamin C like all in our faces when you go to the grocery store. It's like, this has vitamin C. Like,
yeah.
Like,
well, I know one thing happens, okay?
Like the green peas, it'll be like the vitamin C isn't the green peas. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
If you have a lot of vitamin C, no. If you have a lot of carbs, it's a high carb diet, you need a lot more vitamin C for it to enter. Because for some reason, the glucose and the vitamin C, either the structure is very similar, but I know that the entrance into where it's supposed to do the good job is exactly the same. So you have all these glucose molecules trying to fit in.
The metabolism's different.
And then you have some vitamin C that's trying to get in. So you need to.
I drink the lemon juice.
Yeah, just lemons. But what I'm saying is, once you lower your glucose,
you don't need as much.
So yeah, basically you could be consuming like
it could be scarcity.
20 times more on a high carb diet, 20 times more vitamin C. And then after you're on a low carb or ketogenic diet, and then you only have this much of, but it's absorbed completely. So it's hard to say, right? But I'll present
Then what about calcium, magnesium? I should get that in the diet, or
well, if you're doing
that's another supplement that's heavily pushed. And
well, I mean, calcium's not an issue at all. I mean, if you're eating cheese, really, it's not an issue.
I eat low cheese.
Yeah, so
I've been eating a little bit less.
I mean, the calcium in animal food is usually fine, and I'm pretty sure maybe that it's not necessarily only milk that has calcium.
Yeah, I don't drink milk.
No, cheese.
Yeah,
because the whole thing with calcium is you need 3 things. You need find calcium, and not calcium oxalate that's in plants.
I eat Parmesan and cheddar mostly.
Good. Then you have vitamin D. And then you have vitamin K2, more specifically, like JD's mentioned, MK4. So the vitamin K,
Yeah, I have to watch those.
you know, it says to the calcium, like, okay, go over here. That's where it's needed. And let's check the broccoli that I just popped the nutritional facts.
Yeah, I eat broccoli, green beans, onion, and that's mostly the vegetables.
Am I sharing the screen? No, eh?
Yeah.
Okay, you saw the broccoli.
And then I actually did make my own sauerkraut and fermented beets, and they're just all right. But I try to eat them when I can.
Broccoli, usually nutritional information. Like, you know, I want to see that thing that looks like on the side of the box there.
Yeah, there's a website I use.
Yeah, nutritionalfacts.com or something like that.
Mm.
I'm surprised.
But it seems like broccoli and some other vegetables don't play right with certain people. Is the
Yeah.
thing. So it's so
True.
funny. Like they like highly recommend the vegetables like to like everyone, but the reality is like they need
My mom-
experimenting for
Yeah.
for people to people. I can eat a wide variety.
My mom, maybe I'll look for graphs. Oh, now I know why. Here I am, like looking for broccoli. I'm on YouTube, dude. I'm looking it up on YouTube. I meant,
Yeah,
like,
you're in the wrong search bar.
yeah. I was like, this is really weird. I'm like, I don't understand how it's not showing up with. And then I just realized.
All your
Okay.
Daily Wire videos popping up.
I love Daily Wire. I love the controlled opposition, like JD says.
That's what I told you too. I was that guy too. Yeah, but we don't really
Really?
need to get into it.
No, I don't take offense. I'm curious, like, but I'm like,
Yeah.
how do you guys come out? Are you just assuming? Because you know why? The reason
It's
that I
not
don't
really something I like to talk about, but
this is my reason why I'm like, I wouldn't.
it's
jump
just
to
Ben Shapiro. It's like everyone else is okay. Peterson,
So
it's just
so that's
Shapiro
the thing.
I have a little bit of problem
So
with, but he's
Matt
funny as
Walsh,
hell. His
yes,
mannerism and
exactly.
memes are hilarious.
Yeah.
The AI voice memes now are so fucking funny. Excuse me.
Who is it? Okay, so Matt Walsh started doing YouTubes like us and used to do them in his car. If you really look at his oldest videos.
Oh, I haven't, yeah. Obviously, I just know his
He's not
documentary
some
and
guy
some of
that
his
got
speaking.
hired. This is a guy that was speaking his mind. I don't know how
Yeah,
he got
came out with the documentary, got a lot of attention.
Matt Walsh. Now though, he did What Is a Woman?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
So if you look at his older videos, you can tell that he's a guy that has his convictions. You know, he has his worldview, his morals. So, and you know, he's consistent with his worldview. Let's put it that way. And then after he gets hired, so in respect to this is how I see it. In respect to the Daily Wire is an entertainment. Okay, it's not news. It doesn't claim to be news, and it's entertainment. So a lot of it will be commentary on what's happening just now.
That's all I watch, content like that.
Yeah, through for sure through the bias of a conservative.
Yeah, I watch. Yeah, I watch the same thing, just through a slightly different bias. So it's
Yeah.
like,
So Matt Walsh is
say much.
freaking hilarious. His main focus is on you know, that ideology that's happening with children and stuff like that. He's like a total, you know, bigot. You know, he's been called, like, you know, the biggest bigot on it.
He's a good meat shield.
And I think he's done. I find that he's pushing his own message on his own platform. You can tell that it's his opinion. It's a Christian and conservative, and he's very funny. And then after Ben Shapiro, I've never really watched. They often say, I came for Ben, I stayed for Matt. I don't watch Jordan Peterson anymore.
He's less consistent. Like what you said, Matt Walsh, he's gone through like his ups and downs and spikes, and he's just not.
Well, I mean, he's an interesting guy. He's a well-read guy. He's an articulate
His recent
guy.
speaking at the Greek Pantheon or whatever was a little pretentious for me.
Yeah. So
if you've seen a screenshot, it's just a little pretentious. I don't know.
This is where I gained JP gained respect. I gained respect for JP. I was watching, and this is way before the Daily Wire. I was watching his YouTube videos of his University of Toronto humanities classes. He had put them all out for free. So the first one was Maps of Meaning. Then I followed his Genesis series that was not a theological discussion. It was really looking at the Bible and the archetypes, very Carl Jung kind of version. So he wasn't making religious claims. He was using the Bible as stories, just like he did a big rundown on Pinocchio that was crazy interesting. So all of this stuff was his specialty. This was not political. It had nothing to do with anything that's happening now. He's in his
Pinocchio.
He's engaged.
I found an archetype in Little Mermaid. You might be interested.
Yeah, well, wait, hold that thought. So, anyways,
Okay,
that's what I watched, and then most of his stuff was really, speaking out. I know it seemed to have go more towards young men, but he uses his psychology, and that's where he shined. Then he got thrown onto the world stage when there was a law that said that Canadians, by law, are forced to use these words, and he pushed back on principles, saying it's never existed that the government tells somebody that they must say something, like compelled speech.
Yeah, I know. He was pro-trans, just like against compelled speech.
I don't think he was even pro-trans.
He said stuff like that.
Well, he was
like
smart.
Accepting or something. Pro might be strong, but like accepting and uses the similar
I think
verbiage.
that he didn't voice his opinion because at that time he had
the compelled speech was
he focused on that. He didn't have a job at the Daily Wire. He wasn't writing books. All his job was the university at that point. So he played it very careful, and he focused really on not the issue of that, like you said, the compelled speech. I think it showed huge character because he held his ground, and that's where he gained a lot of respect worldwide. And yeah, like now he's doing podcasts, so it's like it's him interviewing, he's giving opinion, he's talking about climate change, and it's like I haven't focused on that. So then he got hired, and JD, one of the things, and I don't want to like misrepresent what he said,
and this is all post recovery.
Recovery of what?
Of some addictions and rehabilitations and
things
like that.
There was something about he was on benzodiazepines and he was trying to stop it, and people criticized him for that. And it's like, listen,
it was rough. It was rough for him.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was just benzo issues. If there was,
I don't know what it was, but he had correctional.
Not clear. I know a lot of people focus on the benzos and try and say like, oh, look, the guy's talking about improving and stuff, and he's a drug. He wasn't a drug addict. A lot of doctors used to prescribe that like it's candy and it helps you sleep. And the guys, doing seminars everywhere and on the train taking that to sleep because you have, who knows? It's none of our business. In my respect. But anyways, that's where I gain respect for it. I see the Daily Wire. It's an entertainment. Okay, it's entertainment. It's not news. Each one of them has their own little spiel. Like you said, like Matt focuses a lot more on the ideology thing. Ben does talk about it. Ben's a lot more political. Then after you have Candace, she focuses a lot more on African-American culture too. So like there's just a wide variety. They often talk about just current events through the lens of Republicans. So I'm like, and now this whole Jordan Peterson that because now he's even more emboldened now that he's like, I'm untouchable because I can't lose my job because
he has all the fancy suits now.
He's like, I have book deals. I don't need my license as a psychologist. I'm not going back to humanities, right? But before he got this,
he's a touring entertainer.
Yeah, so he was making, I'm sure, huge cash with that. So that gave him a little bit more. But now on top of it, he's still doing all that, book selling, lectures, and he has the
now he's employed.
So yeah, exactly. So now he can really tell people, what he thinks. But when the Canadian government, or through his professional order of psychologists, just sent him and saying that he needs re-education, that he misspoke and all of this things. So JD's kind of saying, I think that's what I felt he was playing. He's like, no, see, he's public and he's being shut up, and this is on a huge stage as a warning. Don't speak up. Look what happened to him, and that'll happen to you. And I'm like, yeah, I understand that they could be, oh, he's the good guy, but really the good guy is just trying to scare the crap out of us. But that's not true, because JD again held his ground, and he's like, I don't need my license. He goes, but I am going to fight it on principle. I am not giving up my license. So again, if he holds his ground, he goes there, defends himself, which he will, and then he wins. I don't see how that's controlled opposition for that specific example, because it's like, actually, somebody tried to pull that, and JP stood his ground, and JP won, and that inspires people. Look, you know what? You don't have to shut up, kind of thing.
Yeah, mega celebrity now.
Well, I mean, he earned it. Like this guy didn't plan to be a celebrity. Like he went into clinical practice because that was his passion, and he's amazing at it. And then he went into humanities, and he was an amazing teacher. So good that they did a series while he
chewed him up and spit him out.
And then after he makes good sense and articulates, and there's a lot of stupidity out there, and people kind of enjoyed that. And he's preaching a very simple message, to young men.
Imagine Canadian humanities.
So anyways, all that to say is, like, you know what? Like he got famous, and it's like, what else do you want him to do? He can't be a psychologist anymore. He's too famous. He can't go and study. He's too famous. And he didn't. I don't think that he's deceptive. He got famous. It's like he's appreciated. And now he's at the Daily Wire, and I'm like, it's an entertainment. I watch it as entertainment. I mean, they're the one and only few kind. There's not a million kind of like against the woke left democratic crazy people. I mean, you see it everywhere. Yeah. And then after you have like Young American Foundation, you have like Steven Crowder. You got a few of these, like, so I don't feel alone,
America first.
Yeah, I like that, stuff.
Cool.
And then you have Daily Wire, and then.
Then who's the other young guy?
I don't know. Like that's why I was like, I'm trying to think. Well, I don't hear much of the opposite of the Democrats anywhere. So then this implication that kind of JD was kind of pointing out, this is actually controlled the opposition. Then I'm like, well, then
that's purity spiraling.
Well, it's because then I'm like, well, then the few you're calling, the 2 or 3 Republican people that are at least talking a little bit. And it's like, now I'm supposed to say I'm not supporting them. They're controlled opposition. So you know what? I'll encourage them to be like silence. And then I'm like, yes, controlled opposition gone. Not one damn place am I hearing actual Republicans. So for me, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, and the other side is like, is more unified.
Yeah, I guess so.
The left wing is more unified.
I really don't think that Jordan Peterson. He's flawed. And now, hey, look, imagine being on the spotlight 24/7. Every single little freaking thing that you say is scrutinized. I'm getting used to this on YouTube. I'm not even a popular.
I almost went to Vegan Gaze's Discord, but it's like her audience seemed like really nasty and doxy, like personal information people. I was like, no thanks.
No,
I don't even want to put my voice in there.
The first thing that goes,
you know what I mean?
When you're malnourished is your sense of humor and your compassion. All of
my closest friend is vegan for over 10 years.
They're dead. They're like this, and they're resentful. They're angry. I'm generalizing.
His sense of humor is crazy. His sleep he's like narcoleptic almost at like, if it's anywhere close to nighttime and we're just chilling, he's like narcoleptic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I have a lot of processed foods and a lot of like salady, like packed, like just bulked up meals. And he's so lean. And he fucking farms, and he deals with the fucking pests. Excuse my language. I just can't help when I get excited. But like I said, he deals with the pest and he buys the fertilizer and he sees it's, he just has to put it all together. He just has to.
It's hilarious.
But literally, he's my best friend. I don't want to like jeopardize our friendship, but I care about his health, and I don't want to argue about the things. I want him to know. I want his heart to change on himself and him see it.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's smart. It's just like people get clouded with their love for animals, and like they get trauma-based mind control and seeing him tortured and the horrible things that happen to him.
Yeah, I mean,
and they turn into radicals, and then I don't.
Yeah.
It's good to be a reactionary and radical in some sense, but it's like this veganism is like has the spirit of the rebellion and the antichrist. It seems like.
Well, that's it. Like, if a deception was blatantly, obviously wrong, then it wouldn't be a deception. You'd be obviously that's wrong. I'm choosing that. Deceptions always appear to be true, but in reality, you're deceived at the end. And I understand that no one's happy. Okay, no one is happy killing an animal. Okay, or the vast majority of normal people that aren't, like psychopaths and evil, it's a sad thing, and you have to appreciate the animal. But the point is that
I clean my own fish.
I said, if people know that there's literally many nutrients that are not available, they are in low quantities. There's many deficiency risk, and that is just fact. And no, I don't feel like having a whole food plant-based diet with supplements and fortifications. And any vegan that says, "Oh, why would you sue my supplement?" is really dishonest and dangerous or stupid. Because if I was honest, and I would be, let's say, a vegan, it's like, well, we're vegan for the animals, but I have to I have to warn you about a couple of things. Some people will eat all the beta carotene they want and will still be deficient in vitamin A because it is
disclosures.
Yeah. And then after, say, like, B12, okay, you can supplement, but you should still check your levels because sometimes cyanocobalamin compared to methylcobalamin, sometimes, you just go check that often, work with your doctor, get more vitamin levels, at least every 6 months or something.
And it's
then
basically for like obese people or like people that want to fucking like start, because it's a fasted diet. It's basically a fast.
Yeah, so you benefit, especially if you're going from a standard American diet.
You get into hypertrophy and whatever.
You could probably feel great for a year or two, even like going from a crap diet and being fat.
Yeah, that's what it's for.
And then it's like, oh man, like I'm losing all this weight, I'm leaning out, and it's like, yeah, I know, but it's like it's a bell curve. It's like fasting. You get the benefits, get benefit. Oh, and then it goes straight. Oh, I'm stretching it. No more benefits. Oh, stretching it. Oh, problems. So veganism is the same way.
Yeah, he's in late stage. He's in very late stage.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. I lose.
It's so crazy to talk about how I'm fasting and in keto with him because he's been fasted for years.
Which one is this?
My best friend.
Yeah.
Vegan farmer. He owns his own farm and everything, and he's pretty depressed. Can you imagine that, owning your own farm? And
you could be like rotating and grazing animals and stuff like that, and mixing that with the farm also.
It's all plant-based farm, obviously.
Yeah.
It's so destructive with the nutrients and shit.
Yeah. No, this is such a freaking
I want to like let him know about the crop deaths and the desertification and the runoff and like how like and our world and data, how vegans use this source, and we can break it down and prove that they're using it, they're deceiving you.
Yeah, because I use the damn source myself.
And the ethics, they don't care about the health and the benefits and the weight loss. It's a radical religion about like animals are like the same as human individuals, and that's the real extreme. But they just want to reduce harm. We are bringing the ideas and arguments to reduce harm.
Yeah,
our side. Garland
I mean,
Farms.
It's funny because
But people just like recoil because it's, I don't know, too against their worldview.
Jeffrey has always, he was really nice, but now the more and more that he doesn't actually have an argument or anything to debunk the soy fiasco, the soy saga, the great soy saga of 2023.
Yeah, one of his first complaints to you guys were you weren't using his sources. He was like, "You're supposed to use our sources." So you took his source and used it, and he changed it up to more ad hominem hockey stuff. It started slowly getting nastier.
Yeah. Well, he was a douchebag because if you watch, especially some of the streams that run long and stuff with JD and I have a medication. I've spoken about it. I have medication.
Yeah, that was so funny.
Convulsants, and when they hit, I mean, they're made to slow the brain down. And if I go too long, it's like sometimes it's like, just groggy as crap. And then other days it's just brain fog. So you're in a conversation and then you're like, oh, what the hell was I just saying?
Oh no, yeah, I'm cannabis user,
so
that can happen to me.
Yeah. So anyways, it was just funny because then he's trying to attack it in the thing. I think you're drunk, and I'm going. I've always been honest, like, oh, I'm brain dead, JD, right now. So my stupid meds just hit. I'm gonna have to let you go.
And he really wants to follow up with Garland Farms. They're following up with it.
Yeah,
there's nothing really to for them to talk about anymore. I don't know.
No. Well,
we need high level people.
Yeah. But anyways, I went back to see the stream and because I was like, geez, do I look like a freaking idiot on there? And I'm like looking a bit more slow there because usually I'm actually pretty quick. But
well, your son was there too, so you're excited.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Then I actually had one of my viewers, Green Ghosts, like was one of my favorite viewers, and he started to say weird comments and stuff like that. So I blocked him, but I'll probably unblock him. It was just on a spur of the moment. I was like, wow, Jeffrey's doing the character assassination now because he has nothing to refute us with. And then after one of my regular viewers kind of is not on my side, I was like, really?
Yeah, he definitely drinks too. Almost all vegans drink.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
My best friend actually gets a lot of his calories from his drinks, his beer.
Oh, sure. I mean, an alcoholic drink is
the really fancy sours and IPAs.
Mm-hmm.
So they have, I'm sure they have nutrients or whatever in them.
Yeah, for sure. You know what, man? I'm gonna let you go because
it's late and whatever.
Because I always end up talking so much and I don't even see my wife. So I promised myself I was gonna stop the minute that the
we'll talk later then.
Wife came home. Hey, good talking, man. Jump on again anytime.
Yeah, I'm really curious about the discussion of animals considered property and individuals and the best arguments for those points. We don't have to talk about it now. But that's just for the future. I'm curious about.
Okay,
I think that's going to be relevant in the future debates.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's also me and JD are talking on
because they're going to bring up slavery and all this crazy stuff in the past, and now we're enlightened people and we don't eat animals. All right, man.
I don't think that JD wants to reveal any of his hand.
Oh, good.
It's because I've spoken today. This is why we decided to do a stream. I was speak with the Messenger app there because he lives in Texas there. I don't want too much of a bill, but it works good. So chatting up, and I was like, the premise and stuff like that. So if we start if he's not going to be telling us,
good. That makes it more exciting.
Yeah, of course. And then, or else it's because the opponent can look and then go okay, how can I spin that and have an answer?
I watch online debates.
Yeah,
I know how it works. It's fun. All right.
Yeah. All right, buddy.
I don't know how to leave.
I'll remove you I can kick you.
Oh, I
It's
see
probably
it.
on the bottom too. It says leave studio, but
See you later. I'm out.
I'll put you. See you, man. All right, guys. God bless. And make sure to subscribe to the Real Tuesday channel. And also watch Woman of the Dragon. Thanks, Sebastian. We can always go check Sebastian and see what kind of content he has. Hey, again, Peter, you were quiet after. G Slayer's on. Margaret, have a great night. Okay, see you guys.